Welcome back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about Gigi Dall'inga's interview that he gave just after the Ducati team launch. Now, in this interview, he talked many things from bike development for 2023, and also he talked about Bastianini and Bagnaia and how he thinks, or what he thinks, is going to go on between them over the course of the season. But we'll get into the bike development first. And, one of the strongest things that came out of it was that he said sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. And this for me is a real GG line, if I'm very honest. He also said every development you carry out carries risk of reliability, or taking the wrong path, or not finding the performance that you are hoping for. With the current MotoGP calendar, we have such few days testing, so this aspect is further accentuated. And like we saw last year, we learned it very well. This year, we've decided to take much less risk, try new ideas, but try to be sure they're a real evolution before putting them on the bike to be raced. He also said, that last year doing such late switch almost cost them the 2022 World Championship for them and for Pecco. So they will not be making that same mistake again, which I think is very good and very brave actually for Ducati to publicly announce. He also talked about Bagnaia and Bastianini and the much hyped rivalry, let's say, in the press. However, both riders are basically saying that they need to respect each other and work with each other and not go to war with each other until such time as the title is between the two of them, let's just say, for instance. But Gigi said, it seems the right thing to do. It is very clear that both want to win, and it is clear that both also want to be put in the best position to be able to do so. Clearly, winning doesn't mean finishing ahead of your teammate. It means beating all the best riders. So working together to get the bike to its best and to find those solutions that give the advantages to both. I think it's in both our interests. Then, it's clearly true that on track you have to demonstrate who is best, and I'm sure they will. But I'm also convinced that they will do it respecting each other and therefore without low blows. And I think it's actually great that he's saying this at the start of the season. Does Gigi have a favourite? I don't think so. I think Gigi is a kind of a race engineer, but also he's may the best rider win as long as you're doing it in a not so underhanded way, I suppose. But it's definitely interesting. He also spoke about the sprint race and asked, does the sprint race worry you? He said, it's not going to be easy to have a race on a Saturday and then having to repeat it on a Sunday. It will certainly be complicated from the point of view of engine management. There will be some aspects that need to be analysed. We've already done it in part, but then there's no real test, which we will only take place in the first race in Portimao. And I find this really interesting because he's bang on right, and this is kind of something that we've said all the time. You can put engine mileage on it, even in practice when you go out there. It's not like a race situation. And they can go out and they can simulate it, no problem. They can simulate what they think the wear is going to be, or they can simulate the wear on a bike during the shakedown test. But it's still not going to be the exact same as in a race situation. Everything is turned up to 100%. The rider is ready to go balls to the wall. And what is the wear? What is going to happen? Is there going to be crash damage, for example? There's hundreds of simulations that you can do that where the bike doesn't make it around turn one even. So, I think it's definitely a steady approach by him. Overall, I think Gigi was quite open to the questions that he was asked. Gave really good answers. definitely this year is going to be a more subdued year for Ducati in development wise, I believe. I think they're not going to put anything on the bike unless it really works. So it will definitely be interesting. The other thing with Ducati, and I know a lot of people are saying this 8 bikes and whatever, right? Ducati don't want 8 bikes on the grid, and they've openly said this also. There was a need to have more bikes on the grid. Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Aprilia, KTM all said no to supplying more bikes. Ducati stood in and did it. So you can call it the Ducati Cup if you like, but as I've always said, I would prefer to have 2 more teams and 4 more riders, and then not having them. And the situation Motogp was faced with at that time was that there was 2 teams, needed bikes. No manufacturer was going to stand up except for Ducati. So for me, I give Ducati massive kudos. Are they getting data off of it? I do believe they're getting some data. 21 chassis to a 22 chassis is different setups, for example, engines. While it would be similar data, it would not be exact as maybe the engineers wanted. But it is a reference point, I will always say that. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What do you think of Gigi's comments? Do you think Pecco and the Beast will actually get on? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.